the full, which is freaking awesome. And I have to say that, you know, the half marathon, I couldn't run the entire thing. I think I stopped like 3-4 times to stretch it out because I was really cramping up and stuff like that. But yeah, if we do it the 5K, 10K half and then the full, I think we can like just go all the way. It'll be really, really awesome. And here's the thing: if we decide to start off with like a 10K or something like that, who knows? I might fly up there and run it with you.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, because, you know, like, we could technically do it separately, I suppose, because you have the since you do it underneath somebody else's control. We have our times. I mean, the courses are going to be different, but I'll make sure I'll pick the downhill one, and you pick like the uphill.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I felt really, really bad about was that I got my video camera, my portable video camera, but I forgot to bring it because what happened was that the thing starts at 7 a.m. in the morning. The gunshot is at 7 a.m. and then I had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and then leave the house by 5. Try to get there at 6, but we got there after 7 because of all the traffic. Because at that marathon, there was over 24,000 people all heading to the same direction, and it was just a lot of traffic. But it doesn't matter if you're late because you have the tag on your shoe, and that determines when you start and when you end. So that was really, really cool. It's 24,000 people. When I was at Big Bear, there was only a couple. I don't even think there was 1,000 people. It might have been around 1,000 people, and then this was 24. I was like, this is insane, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it's so satisfying, and it's so much joy when you finish the entire thing, and you're sweating, and you see all these other people running with you. There was all type of people. There was people who were probably over 70, 80 years old. There were people who were super fit. There were people who were handicapped, you know, and there were people who were running it barefoot. There were people who were very obese and they were walking the whole thing. But it's so cool to see so many thousands of people doing this thing all together. And I was like, my gosh, this is what Andy versus Dano is all about. This is so insane. So yeah, the best thing ever, and I just recommend everybody to try it at least once, you know. Yeah.
Oh. Yes. Oh, I'll be trying it soon, I guess, if it's the next thing. It'd be a big one for me, running.
Speaking of which, this is the medallion. So there you go. It's a pretty cool medallion. Yeah, it has that big.
Is there sponsorships on there? I'm just kidding.
No, there's no sponsorship, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow, man. So everybody got one of those, or just a few got them?
Yeah, everyone got one of those. I guess people who didn't finish didn't get it, but a lot of people finished. And the cool thing is that when you're running, a lot of people on the sides are cheering. There's a lot of volunteers. I remember there was a volunteer from UPS. They were passing out water. So every mile there's a station that pass out water and kind of like those energy drinks and stuff like that. As you get towards the end, they start having these like sweet snacks and stuff for you. There's also people spraying these anti-cramp liquid on your leg if it's cramping up, and it's supposed to help. And yeah, it's really, really cool. And it was running along the beach, so it was beautiful. Yeah.
Wow. So I was looking up the big race that we have here in Colorado called the Boulder Boulder. Are you familiar with that at all?
Not at all.
It's a 10K race. It takes place on May 31st, 2010. Or that was last year. So I guess when they decide to update the site here, we'll have the next time I do it. But 10K might be a cool competition that we could train for.
Definitely 6 miles. And the way you could do that is like if you have 3 months ahead of time, you can go ahead and just jog as much as you can jog, and then you add 10% every single time that you jog, and eventually you'll get to 6 miles, and then later after you get to 6 miles, you start sprinting it until you bring down the speed. Then by the time the 10K comes, it's like you're all ready to go. So yeah.
Doesn't involve swimming. maybe the triathlon or whatever they call it'll be next year.
Hey, Mrs. Dano in the comments said, I ran it 6 times, 6.2 miles. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
she rocked it out when when she was in high school.
Yeah, yeah.
She's quite the runner.
Wow, wow, that's cool. And do you remember your time so that I can beat it?
She
Yeah.
started in 6th grade. See, now
Oh,
I'm learning something about. I knew she ran it at least 3 times. I actually couldn't remember how many times she ran it.
I'm trying to Google it
I'm a
right.
bad husband.
No, that is cool. That is cool to find out something new about your spouse after many many years. Yeah, it keeps it interesting. But so after all that eating and all that exercise and all that stuff, the day that I weighed myself in of before the run of the marathon, I was 192.
Damn.
192. And I go, there must be something wrong here. I ate a bunch of carbs and all that stuff, so maybe the run kind of ate away the carbs or something like that. So I said, this is amazing. So then after the run, I shouldn't call it marathon because it's not a marathon. It's half a marathon, but I shouldn't call it half a marathon
It's a
because
half empty marathon.
I did take breaks to uncramp myself. So I should just call it 13.1 miles. Yeah, so then people who actually run the whole thing, they have the privilege of calling it a half marathon. But besides that, after that, I was really tired and I started loading up in so much stuff. Right after the run, I drank like 3 chocolate milk because they passed out chocolate milk.
They
I
pass out
ate
all this stuff. It's like
Yeah.
so not good for
Yeah,
you.
they were trying to give people sugar back into their body because everything came out, and usually you get really dizzy after you run. So I did that. I stretched. I ate a banana, their apple, and then after that we went to celebrate. I ate some chicken and rice, and I had 2 like chicken wings, and yeah, and then I was like, oh gosh. Because of the run, it's telling my body, oh my God, there's a war or some type of plague going on. So this guy's like sprinting away. So the
Your fat
next
cells
thing,
are like going in total alert, like yo yo yo,
yeah.
or we're
So the
decreasing
next
in
thing, they're
size.
like, the next thing you eat is gonna go straight into your fat, and that's probably what happened. Because later on, when I weighed myself again, I was 195. I was like, 195, 196. I was like, my gosh, what happened? But I
Wow.
was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. My body needs time to realize that it just worked out the entire week. The 4 miles, the 4.5 miles, the 6 mile, the 13.1 miles. I mean, that's got to be something, right? So I weighed myself this morning, and then there must be something wrong with the scale because it says 185.5, which is the weirdest thing ever. I stepped on it, I slammed on it, I put other weights on it. I put a phone on myself. I'm like, what's going on with this thing? 185.5? That can't be it. So I don't want to say 185.5 for this week because that's ridiculous.
It probably
I mean,
is.
what was I? 190, 197, and then bam, 18. That's not possible. I gotta check my scale. I mean, that's the scale that I've been using all this time to weigh myself. But 185.5 is just weird. Right?
It might make sense because you were doing exercise that your body wasn't used to doing, like you did a lot of running,
Uh-huh.
but then this morning is when you weighed yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And have,
absolutely.
and have you
Every morning of Tuesday, I weigh myself, and that's how I always get the numbers.
and actually I had to use a home scale this morning for my weigh-in, so I don't know if my number is all that exact, but uh, I think it's possible because you ran a lot last week. Your body's not used to you were not running on pavement and not running that much on, I think in general on your workouts, and then you did all that really hard work.
The previous
And
week,
yeah,
the previous week, I did all the benching and stuff like that, and I said I gained weight. Maybe it's the muscle thing, but I said wait a little bit longer. Maybe the weight will show up in the next week, and maybe all of that accumulated and 185.
maybe.
I'll be happy if it was 185. The thing is, I've been weighing myself every Tuesday with the home scale. It doesn't run on battery or anything like that, so it's pretty consistent. But then I would really want to go to the gym to use their professional scale and really see if it's 185.5. But that is really crazy. Even if that scale is wrong, I'm still pretty happy because that is pretty low. So it's got to be somewhere in the 190, low 190. So
Wow. Yeah. So you're definitely. This is not. See, I need to wise up. I need to wise up because I didn't get to the gym that much this week,
uh-huh.
and you saw that I ate some stuff that I should have been eating,
Yeah.
and it sounds like a rerun of last week where I just am failing to really kind of compete here, and I need to catch up even more, and this is kind of like, oh crap, how
Yeah.
am I going to beat Andy now? Because he's like, you're like, what is that, 15%, 16%?
I don't know what it is. Oh, but there's another thing that I keep forgetting to stick to, but for the past week I really stuck to it, and that is eat every 3 hours. Eat every 3 hours. I always get in the habit of just blah blah blah, working on the computer, working on clients' projects and stuff like that, and then you forget, and then 6 hours pass, and then you feel like an idiot, and then you eat late and stuff like that. But then this time, every 3 hours, I put something in my body, so it tells me there's no plague, there's no war, there's no nothing, so I can go ahead and use that as energy instead of storing it as fat. I did that 3 hours before I sleep. I don't eat anything at all. So then when you
That's
wake up in
that's
the morning, you feel like your stomach's kind of like small and stuff like that. So go ahead.
that's just something I have a hard time with too. Around late at night, I'll like be really hungry for something, and so I've been trying to not eat terribly bad. Like I normally have popcorn or something like that, and I think that's also impacting me negatively because
Hmm.
and I think to myself, well, maybe I'll just stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning and I'd be okay then. But I need to really set a cutoff date, like after 9 o'clock, that no matter how hungry I get, just
Yeah.
not feed my body anything.
Yeah. And water too. Water.